Good morning. It is a pleasure to be here sharing with you and learning from you this morning. As I start, I want to share with you a little bit about who we are, a little bit about what we value and what we're focusing on, all of which are going to provide a context for the professional development framework that I'm going to be sharing with you. The St. Paul Public Schools is one of the second largest districts in the state of Minnesota. And in St. Paul, we serve over 39,000 students. We are rich in diversity with over 77% of our students of color. Our students speak 126 different languages. Over 30% of our students speak English as a second language. 17% of our students are special ed students, and we have over 85 school sites and programs with over 3,000 teachers that we serve that will also provide a context for this professional development piece. As I share this work with you, I'd like you to know that it's grounded in a pre-K-3 framework that actually came out of work of a team 2 to 3 years ago at Harvard with Christy, which really broke down some barriers for us as a district, because previous to that, while we had pre-K programs in our district, they didn't feel like they were part of us. We were two separate systems. We had two separate professional development systems, two separate administrative systems, and we didn't see how our work together combined to really support students. And so while my conversation with you is going to be grounded in building the professional capacity of the teachers in our district, both pre-K through 3, as well as pre-K through 12, and also how our curriculum instruction alignment supports that work. But please know that there's more to this puzzle of professional development than just curriculum and instruction, and that there's a large intentional focus on racial equity, how we're aligning systems for families and how we're partnering with families across our pre-K-3 spectrum. Do we even have assessments that talk to each other? And how do we translate and transfer those assessments across the contexts? What are our multiple systems of support for students when they're not successful with our core instruction? What's the next step? Those are all pieces that work together in this process. It's important for you to know that I'm speaking about literacy. We have a 2.5-hour literacy block and a 2.5-hour early childhood workshop that mirror each other. And a large part of this work is an instructional framework that really requires that teachers are highly skilled, they're highly responsive, that they're adaptable, that they're data literate, that they know how to use multiple measures of assessment to determine profiles for students to inform their instruction. Our Reader's Workshop framework has a short, sharp focus in whole class instruction, but the bulk of the time is about teachers using individual student profiles to determine small group instructional strategies, to partner students with each other, and to identify pathways for instruction. No program can do this. No box can do this. It's about the skills of the teacher. The same thing with our Writer's Workshop. Again, an explicit focus on grade level and above benchmarks, but the bulk of the time is about students knowing their kids inside and out and knowing how to respond to their strengths and move them forward based on their needs. Our skills block is the same way. Multiple differentiated small groups cycling, teachers spinning a lot of plates. And again, it all hinges on that highly skilled teacher and that adaptive teacher. And in order to provide that, multiple professional development contexts need to happen. What you see here is just a sampling of some of the professional topics that we cover in our district, but what you need to know and what you'll see next is that they encompass multiple layers. They're both district level, they're at the leadership level, and that they're also at the site level. And all of these topics are determined not only by student achievement data, but by implementation data at the school sites, implementation data at the district level, walkthroughs, teacher feedback, as well as national requirements. Our professional development system is based on 6 components, and they're all layered within each other. So while we have professional learning communities at the site level and grade level team meetings, we also have literacy coaching. We have district-wide professional development sessions where there are times we may have a few hundred teachers in one room. We have an instructional leadership and literacy series for our principals. And like Christy said, they can't be left out of the equation. And so we're really intentional to make sure that our professional development topics are not only touched at the teacher level, but they're also touched at the literacy leadership level with literacy coaches, and then again with the principals in the buildings. So what this looks like. The district level support starts with some of our first-year teachers, our teachers in their first 3 years. And so we have literacy institutes, both a reading institute and a writing institute, that over those 3 years encompass 48 hours of professional development for our teachers in their first 3 years. That professional development is practicum-based, and it's done in an institute setting where they come together, do some learning, have an action plan, go away, try it, have support with a building coach or a district coach at your elbow, come back, talk, debrief, we're ready for some new learning, or we're ready to ask some questions about what didn't work and why. We also have district literacy specialists that are staffed out of my office of teaching, learning, and leading. These district literacy specialists support case studies or case school loads, I guess, of about 7 to 10 sites. And their level of service is determined by the needs of a building. Oftentimes those needs are based on student achievement outcomes. But the district literacy specialists not only provide professional development district-wide, they also service the sites at a site level where they provide meta-coaching for literacy coaches that are at those sites. They collaborate with principals and leadership teams to do walkthroughs of the building, to go into classrooms to set up peer observations across the school. They also provide workshops at the school site based on the school's goals, and they also provide assessment and data support. We also provide that district-wide professional development support around some of those topics that you saw on the earlier slide. This happens in a variety of contexts as well. So there are face-to-face sessions, a few hundred teachers in a room, but what's important to know is that we don't do one-time sit and get, spray and pray. We're going to talk at you for 2 hours, and then we're never going to talk about this again, kinds of experiences. So that even if we have all of the pre-K teachers together, all 300 of them, and our learning together is around oral language development, there is always a follow-through at the building level through both the principal as well as the literacy coaches and the district literacy specialists, so that we all have people elbow to elbow with us working on the same goals. We also provide hybrid options. So one of those examples might be we've partnered with Heinemann and Teachers College to provide an online introduction to Writers Workshop for our teachers. That's 10 hours. And after that 10-hour online introduction, then they come to us and we start to contextualize what the practices are in the classroom. We take a look at some of the assessments. We take a look at some of the curriculum, and that is practicum-based. And then lastly, online. So 3,000 teachers could take a very long time. And so online learning is something that we've been starting to dip our toes into, and we're trying to use it both as a way to provide a shared context across the district around topics of learning like the Common Core, but we're also trying to use it to differentiate professional development for both school sites and teachers. So we're trying to provide multiple sessions on a variety of topics that schools and teachers can choose from. The sessions are designed not for independent study, and that's important to know. They're designed in a constructivist manner so that there's shared learning that occurs at a site, whether it's a grade level team or a cross-departmental team or a cross-grade level team, around a particular area of study. Oftentimes we have video demonstrations, learning content or readings that they might undertake together, and then guiding questions for them to explore together so that they're constructing their learning. The leadership level of support includes our principals, and we have both an instructional leadership and literacy series that mirrors the same topics of content that we're sharing with teachers, as well as with literacy coaches, so that principals get an administrative view around, if I'm doing walkthroughs in my building, what should I be looking for? What should it look like? What should it sound like? How can I provide constructive feedback on this particular focus area? This is also done in our principal meetings as well. We have literacy coaches in almost all of our sites, not all of our sites. The new budget is out, and so we're really hoping to be able to maintain them. But they are also a critical piece in this because the learning that teachers are doing still needs to be continually supported at the site level and at the classroom level. And so we provide literacy coaching, professional development to those coaches to create aligned systems of coaching models. We've provided training in cognitive coaching because really what professional development is for us is about building the internal capacity of the staff in our schools. At the site level support, we have professional learning communities. And there's been a significant investment in professional learning communities. It's during the school day. At the elementary level, they have 2 15-minute periods a week where teachers are participating in their professional learning meetings. That's in addition to their preparation time, not in place of. And those professional learning communities are very intentional around looking at student data, setting achievable goals, identifying promising instructional practices, implementing those, and then seeing how students respond. Literacy team meetings are both grade level and cross-grade level and provide support, additional PD support for teachers outside of the professional learning community. So if a professional learning community is looking at, let's say, oral language specifically, the literacy team meeting is where a literacy coach may come in and provide some direct professional development support for them. And then lastly, the literacy coaches provide elbow-to-elbow support not only for individual teachers, but small groups of teachers as well as building-wide professional development. They partner with the principal during walkthroughs and provide overall professional development support for the whole building. That kind of gives you a snapshot of the layers of both the district level, the site level, at the leadership level. In terms of needs, what we need is to continue to invest in this type of work and a high degree of persistence. If you look at us compared to other countries like Finland, Canada, Japan, they invest a huge amount of time in teacher professional development as part of their school day. And if we expect our teachers to be as highly skilled as they need to be, we need to invest in them. Thank you.